Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 7 of our F1 2003 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from Baku, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. It seems mad to me already that we're nearly halfway through this season, but still, something that is less surprising is the dominance that Michael Schumacher is still showing at the top of the table. He returned to winning ways last weekend for his 4th win of the year and re-extends his championship lead to 18 points over myself. David Coulthard, Fernando Alonso not too far behind as well, still in 3rd and 4th there. Constructors-wise, we're a lot safer in that championship right now with, I believe, a 78 or an 88 point lead. Sorry, 84 point lead. I can do my numbers. 86, I don't know. We've got a big lead at the top of the table as we close in on half distance this season, and I'm looking to try and keep that momentum going as we return to Montreal. Of course, this was the scene of Schumacher's only win last season, so I'm thinking he's hoping that he can have another good race out this weekend as well. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 140,000 subs before F1 25 releases. Also, if you want to help support us just a little bit more, consider clicking that join button for just £1 a month. You get early access to all the videos, as well as a few other little exclusive perks. But yeah, without further ado then, let's head back to Montreal. Well, heading then into qualifying here, you know, I'm going to expect it to be Michael Schumacher that is going to be the one setting the pace, but I've also had to take a 5-place grid drop this weekend for a gearbox change as well. So, yeah, we're going to be starting down the order irrespective of where I qualify, but ultimately, yeah, our qualifying pace this year has been less than stellar on quite a few occasions. We have taken a couple of pole positions. We've also had a couple of sessions as well where we've been way off the pace. So maybe, just maybe, we can try and return to form this weekend. You've got to be so careful of nudging the grass like I've just done there. Because obviously the traction control just cuts the power. And that really does cost you a lot of time through the corners there. Obviously you can tackle the curves a little bit more than you would expect to in modern day Formula 1. And so far, actually, I say all that, and this lap seemingly coming together just a little bit. We haven't got a safe margin. In fact, Raikkonen now has just got past me as well on the live timing. But yeah, even if we take pole position, we'll only line up 6th on the grid. There you go. You see Kimi flying along down in towards the final few corners. Just the chicane to try and navigate. So we'll try and take a lot of curb on the entry and on the exit, get the power down as best as we can. We're going to recover to P2. 2nd place, actually, is not bad going. But McLaren, this weekend, they have some pace. There we are then, Kimi Raikkonen on pole position, but just 1/1000th of a second between myself and Michael Schumacher. 6/1000ths of a second between the pair of us and Jenson Button is pretty impressive going here in qualifying. David Coulthard will line up 5th, ahead of Alexander Wurz there and Jarno Trulli. No idea what's happening to Williams right now. Their pace just seems to be falling through the floor. And Olivier Panis, after such a good race weekend last time out, he will only line up 12th.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. We should talk about Williams. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready for the Canadian Grand Prix, and weirdly, I kind of want Kimi Raikkonen to do well this weekend. Michael Schumacher, you know, he's probably going to outscore me here, so we need to hope that we can try and get a good race. He's only got an 18-point lead, but, you know, momentum can swing so much inside this series, that I just want to try and keep that deficit below 25 as best as we possibly can. Ready on the grid, though. Team reckons soft to hard is going to be the strategy. I think we could make soft medium work, depending on how this first stint goes. But we've got to try and stay out of trouble in towards someone there. 5 red lights here on the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix. And he's going to be lights out, and away we go there. Not a bad start. Schumacher will immediately try and put pressure on Raikkonen in towards turn 1. It's actually Button that puts pressure on him there, as we have a bit of contact from someone behind me there. I think that was Juan Pablo Montoya who ran into the back of me. So I think Alonso has also taken some grid penalties this weekend. Williams still struggling to kind of figure out what they need to do with that car, as Schumacher loses a spot. Oh, I wanted to try and gain one there on Jarno Trulli in towards the middle sector. That's exactly what we'll do down the inside. Careful that we don't run into Alexander Wurz as well. But yeah, Raikkonen, though, getting off to a fantastic getaway, leaping his way out in front. Jenson Button in hot pursuit, so that Renault car is definitely, on its weekends, very, very good. We saw that car last season was good, obviously, on the low downforce circuit, so clearly that might be the same this year again then. You know, your Monzas, your Spas, your Montreals, they're all going to be good venues. Hopefully for that team this year. We've got yellows out and we've got a safety car. No idea what's happened. We'll go try and take a look. Well, this might be the most optimistic move I've ever seen on an F1 game. Fernando Alonso having a look to the inside into the hairpin, tries to dive bomb 4 cars and runs into the back of the Jaguar there. No idea if anybody else has been caught up in that. There was a bit of a roadblock. But what on earth was Alonso thinking? Well, Kimi Raikkonen's lead then at the front of the order has been completely eradicated then, but he will still control the pace through those final couple of corners as we get ready to go green flag racing. Both Renaults, both Ferraris, both McLarens up at the front of the order, and there we go, green flags out once again here in Montreal after the Williams suspension, wheels, everything else has been cleared up. Down at that hairpin there, and Williams' tough championship defence with their all-new lineup. Really not going well so far inside this game as we try and throw the car between that first chicane. Getting tyre temperature back up is definitely something I've struggled with so far this season, as Raikkonen again already looks to just be pulling away from Button. Oh, Wurz there, a little bit of a mistake through the final chicane. Do not want to hit that outside wall. He's really going to try and defend from us back into towards turn 1 there, slightly later on the brakes. But we will roll the car into that first corner then and up into P5. And already, Michael Schumacher right there in front of us. But yeah, we've spoke about McLaren, of course, won that Monaco Grand Prix in a little bit of kind of lucky fashion. We nailed the strategy last weekend and didn't really give him a chance to fight for the win. But yeah, McLaren today, or at least Kimi Raikkonen, that car is on rails. Kimi as well. Oh, sorry, David even. David Coulthard, my old teammate there, just nicking a wheel on the grass. But you can definitely see, top end, that McLaren is slightly quicker than our Ferrari. I reckon the Renault's got the same kind of story at the moment. I think Button has basically just taken all the downforce he could off of that car, and he's just kind of parking it through the corners then. But as an overall race car here, I still feel very, very confident. The problem is, do we try and force a way past Michael, or can he find a way past JB? Right, come on then, Michael. He is definitely struggling. I wonder if he's actually got quite a worn engine in the back of that car as well. But you can see he gets close to Jensen by the time we get down into the final chicane there, but just cannot do anything with it. As we will try and go slow in, fast out yet again then, as Raikkonen doing a 1:14.5. Team already want us to try something different with the strategy. They want us to extend the stint though. Go longer than Schumacher. I guess that reminds us to try and bolt on a set of mediums. Of course, with that early safety car, that'll make this strategy ever so slightly easier for me. So here we go. Here we go. Michael Schumacher struggling again to the inside of our World Championship rival teammate. The Ferrari is almost coming together there. We are still wheel to wheel on the exit of the corner, and that's been really sloppy. As DC now will try and get a run back down the inside in towards the next chicane there. Oh, easy on the brakes, everybody. It's around the outside we'll go. And although a little bit of drama, everything is as it was. But it's quite clear then that Schumacher is quicker than Button. Obviously, we lost a good second or so, obviously, in that little bit of a battle. But you can see now immediately he's closed back in on JB. So clearly the Renault man doing his best defensive drive that he possibly can there as well, really throwing the car right towards the wall at that final turn. See there's Schumacher again, though, our teammate, just with a little bit more straight line speed. I have opted for quite a low downforce setup this weekend, but clearly not as low as some of the AI wanted to go for. But yeah, I think unless we can find a way past Button, we won't really know whether we've got the pace over Raikkonen here to try and challenge for victory. But of course, we've still got our teammate in the ways again. Oh, we have a look to the inside. Michael, well, in a World Championship fight, of course he's going to slam the door. Oh, Button having to try and defend this time round. I thought Michael Schumacher might be able to get a run at some point there, as they will go side by side through the final chicane. I really hope then we could try and maximise and get a run on the pair of them, but we might still find a way around the outside of JB in towards someone there, and when it rains it pours for Renault. Button immediately losing a spot to both Ferraris, but Raikkonen now with a 9-second lead at the front of the order. Will Michael and I be able to work together to try and close in? Do we actually have the pace to compete with Michael, or was he just stuck behind that Renault for far too long? Here we go. Might actually have the speed over Michael Schumacher down in towards the final chicane. We don't say that very often. As immediately Michael will dive into the pit lane then. So a little bit of an earlier pit stop than I would personally want to make. Yeah, our teammate then trying to get on to his second set of tyres. Clearly took a lot out of that first set to try and find a way around Jensen. One thing that has immediately been made clear to me, though, is Button is not fast. Already the gap up to 2 seconds, and now Coulthard's gone by. So will DC be able to pile on the pressure? Well, we are definitely quicker than Kimi Raikkonen at the moment. We've actually set a new fastest lap of the day, just dipping into the 1 minute 13s. But yeah, Michael Schumacher, though, of course, still a bit of an unknown quantity. I don't know where he's going to re-emerge in this GP, but we're definitely going to take the mediums throughout the rest of the afternoon. Tyre here, not looking too bad. Like I said, we've got the pace over Kimi, but I'm not sure it would be enough to get to him by the end of the afternoon. It's very, very late on the brakes into the pit lane there, but we get it stopped and all under control. I would assume the AI are probably going to go a couple more laps and then make the call, but we just need to make sure that we come out in clear air. 2.9 second stop's not bad going either, but where will Michael be back out on the circuit then? Has he been held up in some traffic? Have we been able to make this overcut work on our teammate there as we head back out onto the circuit? There is Anthony Davidson. There is Michael Schumacher, a couple of seconds behind, and our big rival in the World Championship then has been left on the back foot here. We're going to have about a 3-second margin over him, and now we've got to try and work the undercut on Kimi. But immediately then, this fresh set of the medium compound tyre working really, really well. Jensen Button into the pit lane. There's another new fastest lap of the day. 1:13.5 there. So like I said, I think we're definitely quicker than Raikkonen, but it's just a question of how much quicker can we be. Schumacher now has been released, but the gap is up over 5 seconds. Oh, as long as we don't do anything stupid, hopefully, against all the odds I really did think this weekend, we might be able to outscore Michael. There we go, more and more cars pouring into the pit lane then, so we shouldn't even get held up by Jarno Trulli. Will that be every other car into the box? Coulthard's in. Raikkonen has already pit, so there is Kimi. 7 seconds up the road still, so we did get a bit of an undercut, but certainly not a lot. 16 laps, 7 seconds. We need to be half a second a lap faster, pretty much. Not optimistic that's going to happen. Well, I tell you what then, with 10 laps to go, this could come down to the wire between myself and Kimi Raikkonen, especially when there's some lap traffic up the road. We are running half a second clear of the McLaren man. Schumacher's just got no pace towards the end of the afternoon. So I think kind of the setup we're using is working well as the fuel burns off. A little bit of curb abuse there. But yeah, I mean, getting to Raikkonen is one thing. Getting past him is very much another. But at the moment, Ferrari, we've definitely still got the car to beat. However, Raikkonen is definitely faster in a straight line. I think those McLaren engines, those Mercedes engines in the back of that car are working wonders. Well, this is going to be the thing that either wins us this race or will absolutely screw us over the lapped cars towards the end here. We've got the Jordans, we've got the Minardis, and a few others as well. I assume the Jaguars will be in this backpack there, but you can see Raikkonen already getting a little bit caught out between them. It is about being decisive, getting through them where you can, and hoping that they notice you and let you out of the way. No idea what's happened to Zolt Baumgartner this afternoon, but BAR, their pace in qualifying looked pretty good here. Race pace definitely has left a lot to be desired, as hopefully we're going to be able to try and find a way past him, Heidfeld, and Takuma Sato all in one go. Oh no, Sato and Heidfeld are fighting. This is not what we need. The Minardi clearly has got some great straight line speed. I mean, what are you doing? Of course I get a warning for it, but 4 wide, no! What is happening? We've got a safety car late on in the day, someone's gone, and we've got a huge amount of damage on the car. Well, no idea what Zon Bartmangarner is attempting to do here, but just stays in it. Why on earth, in that scenario, if you're a lap down, are you steering at one of the race-leading cars and just try and tip around there? He immediately loses a wheel, is out of the Grand Prix. We go through the grass in dramatic fashion there as well. Let's just try and take a look from the off-board shot as to kind of what this looked like there. But 4 wide temporarily in this Grand Prix. No idea how we're not out of it. But suddenly we're going to have to make another pit stop, and we've got a late race safety car. Apart from the mistake at Monaco, it really does feel like this season not a lot of luck has gone our way, and today might be another story of the same. We're going to try and dive into the pit lane then, go as late as we possibly can on the brakes on the way in there, but a set of soft compound tyres going on, and a new front wing, of course, required inside the final few laps here. Schumacher's definitely going to jump me. I don't know whether Coulthard and Button will as well, but hopefully we're not going to be too far back down the order. But such a good recovery drive up to this point is going to be absolutely deleted here. Come on, let me go. 8.9 second stop is not one to write home about, as Wirtz and Button will also make it by. Will we stay out ahead of Juan Pablo Montoya? I don't think we will. So after all of this, we are going to be back down to where we started in this race. Maybe even worse, unless we can get a jump on Jarno Trulli, which we just about will. Well, I have no idea why the team have opted for a set of hard compound tyres for these final few laps. I'm 99% certain I told them softs, but Raikkonen then, he's got about 5 lap cars between him and Michael Schumacher, so he should be pretty safe for the victory. But we've already seen how chaotic the lap cars can be in this race. So I assume they will be no different towards the end. They will most likely try and screw me over yet again. But much fresher tyres than everybody else. We've got to try and go for it and immediately try and get the jump on Juan Pablo Montoya in towards turn 1. See Ralf Schumacher there just struggling a little bit, as we will immediately move back up then into 6th place. My goal is Schumacher. That's who I want to get back to here, but I'm not optimistic it's going to happen, as Ralf will let everybody by. Takuma Sato again will sit in the way of someone he's not really meant to there, and that's going to really slow up Button and Wirtz, as we will try and get around the outside of the Austrian, up back into P5. I mean, it's still, even now, this is not bad recovery at the moment, but as more of these guys try and get out of the way, it's actually Button that seems to be getting the most held up by them. Nick Heidfeld there in his Minardi trying to get out of the way as best as he can. And then you can see sometimes they just fight you for some reason. It's really, really odd. Button to the inside of him, though, as we will dive it there as well. Try and make sure that we make the move happen, as still Nick Heidfeld refuses to back out. Finally, we will make it round him. And I think Felipe Massa then didn't go a lap down in this Grand Prix, unless that's them just up the road. But I thought that was a Jaguar car. As you can just see there, holding up David Coulthard, letting Michael Schumacher by. Button, though, again, struggling to get the run out of the final corner. Let's not forget we do still have a huge pace advantage anyway. It's down the inside of Button. And yeah, it is Mark Webber then. That is the car laps down. Michael Schumacher is right there. At the very least, we've got to get back past DC. Oh, we've got yellows. We've got yellows behind. I think Button might be gone. No, I think that might be Mark Webber out of the Grand Prix. No, it is Button and Wirtz. Everybody's gone. Well, what has happened behind us then in this Grand Prix? I don't know whether Mark Webber tried to get out of the way. Button understeers, hits the wall, and I believe his teammates done the same. Yes, I think trying to avoid him. There's one of the Minardis there in the middle of them. Let's just see if I can try and find that one as well then. Where was that Minardi car in the way? I can't. Where is that Minardi gone? I've got no idea where that Minardi is. It might have been the Jaguar. No, here we are. So this, I think, was Nick Heidfeld, wasn't it? Who sees Button stack it, crashes into him. The Jaguar then gets a wheel ripped off as well. So we've got more yellow flags out towards the end. Loads of cars get into the accident. And we might have about 6 people remaining by the end of this. Well, I think then Juan Pablo Montoya might have lost his wing in the incident, but is still going in that Williams car. So maybe, like I said, Felipe Massa, I think he was still out there somewhere on the circuit. If he's made it through, Minardi could be on for some points in this Grand Prix. You know, you've always got to back one of the minnow teams inside this series as well. But yeah, 11 cars left running, 2 laps remaining. We are still definitely quicker than Coulthard and Michael Schumacher, but getting past them is the tricky bit. It's Coulthard there. Oh, you just see how much more grip we've got, but he does get in the way. Team that has worked out really well for is Toyota then, as 1 lap to go, side by side now with David Coulthard. Oh, backing towards someone, he tries to chop my nose off. So we will kind of return the favour there to the inside of the McLaren. And up then into P3, a bit of a Daniel Ricciardo style kind of feint and dummy past the McLaren man. But Raikkonen, he has absolutely controlled this race from the front of the order. He definitely deserves to take this one. Can we get close enough to Michael Schumacher though? Our big championship rival at this stage of the campaign. We should have taken points out of him today until Zont Baumgartner had other ideas, but unless we can just get a little bit closer, struggling to see an opportunity there, throwing the car over the curbs. It was early 2000s track limits, they'll allow us to do that a few times here right towards the end of the afternoon. But Raikkonen and McLaren though proving today once again that car does have pace in a normal Grand Prix there. Raikkonen absolutely controlling this one from the front of the order there. DC, a good recovery drive to finish P4 as well. In towards the final few corners though. Unless Schumacher makes an error, I don't think we can do anything. We'll absolutely send it through, but it's not enough. Raikkonen is a Formula 1 winner.
Great work. Well done. We're really happy with the podium here.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In the race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, you were able to guarantee a good result by basically keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team. And they certainly deserve it.
Well, there we are then. Kimi Raikkonen absolutely in control, like we said this weekend. The full 25 points. It took him slightly longer than it did IRL in 2003 to chalk up that first win, but our 4th different winner of the season so far. Michael Schumacher in P2 ahead of myself, David Coulthard, and yeah, both Toyotas really did make that chaos work for themselves towards the end. Jaguar, Minardi and Jordan, though, all picking up points as well, with Juan Pablo Montoya down in 9th place there after I think he had to pit late on for a new front wing. Ralf Schumacher and Takuma Sato both a lap down, but classified in the end, as well as both Renaults, both Saubers, the BAR of Anthony Davidson, Mark Webber and Nick Heidfeld there. Zont Baumgartner and Fernando Alonso both not getting classified when all is said and done. Championship-wise, though, it means that Michael's gapped out of the top 21 points there. We do extend the lead slightly over David Coulthard and Fernando Alonso, and you can't help but wonder, had Raikkonen, won in Albert Park, picked up some points in Monaco as well, he could be a real championship threat this season now, jumping past Juan Pablo Montoya. I believe that means, yeah, most drivers now have scored a point this year. Just Schumacher, Heidfeld and Webber that are yet to score so far, and Jaguar's terrible year. Webber classified last overall now in the World Championship. Constructors-wise, McLaren jumped Williams, Toyota now up into P4. They're ahead of Renault, as Sauber jumped BAR, Jaguar and Minardi both now ahead of Jordan as well. So that battle at the rear of the field is going to be one to look for. But every team with points on the board. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon ready for the, I believe, Austrian Grand Prix.